Welcome back to the channel. This is Trucking and Politics, and I'm David. I was wanting to read you this article that I found. It is called Commercial Truck Drivers in New York Fear for Their Jobs After White House Ruling. And this comes from Spectrum One News. I didn't look into that to see who that was or what they were, but it was published today, September 14th, 2025, out of Rochester, New York, it looks like. As the Trump administration continues its review of millions of visas of foreigners in the United States, one industry is being hit hard by a decision to stop issuing visas for a particular job. Truckers with work visas are fearing for their jobs. That includes Russian. I don't know this guy's name. I'm not going to try to pronounce it. Who has spent 8 years behind the wheel of a tractor trailer, 6 in Ukraine and 2 in the US. I like it. I like driving it. I like being a truck driver. I may go to California, Massachusetts, New York, Nebraska. This is my life, he says. But he has an upcoming commercial driver's license expiration date. He works for Lakeville Trucking Company on a work visa. He is one of 20 Ukrainian work visa truck drivers at the company out of a total of 60. I was like, "Oh my god, this is what we are going to do?" Question mark, said Lakeville Trucking owner Alex. Again, I'm not going to try to pronounce his name. When he heard that news, effective immediately, the U.S. will not be issuing work visas for commercial truck drivers. It's gonna damage a lot. I'm going to have to right now tell my management to start looking for drivers. But it's just impossible. I've been in business since 2008. And as soon as you put them out there, people will apply. As soon as you put that out there, people will apply for jobs, quote unquote, but most of them don't qualify. This comes as the Trump administration is taking steps to enforce the requirements that truck drivers read and speak English proficiently. Some of them right now are on top of learning English. They're already driving and they're listening to English, trying to learn it because the new law came out about 2 months ago. False lie. They will be testing all of the drivers on the English language and working to make sure they are eligible to drive, he said. The decision from the Trump administration follows a crash in Florida that left 3 people dead. Authorities say Harjinder Singh is in the United States on a work visa and obtained a commercial driver's license in California. And previous to that, I think it was Oregon, if I remember correctly. Police said he made an illegal U turn on the highway, causing the crash. Officials question his ability to speak and read English. There are some guys that don't speak English, but I mean, I require my drivers to do small tasks just to make sure they understand basics like road signs. Wow. Yeah, I understand. Yeah, this is no problem. He worries how he'd support his wife and 3 children if he no longer was able to sit behind the wheel. He worries about keeping his trucks on the road. I'm like, how can I get a hold of the administration and get answers? What's next? How can these guys stay here? How can they extend their visas? Is there anything they can do for him? No driver's license, no job. End of story. Well, sir, if you've had your trucking company since 2008, as you say, then you know the rule was already there. It just wasn't being enforced by the previous administration, correct? Let's be honest. Let's be real. You knew that it was there. You knew that it just was not being enforced. And just having your drivers know the difference between a stop sign and a yield sign, and green means go and red means stop, that's not enough. That's not enough. You know, maybe they should go through a course where they're actually trained to be a truck driver, like I did back in the year 2000 when my test was given by the Tennessee State Police and it was only given in English. I had one option. When I took my test in the year 2000, I had one option. I could speak English, or I could get the hell out of the office and let the next person that did know how to speak English take his test or hers. There were several women in the class with me, and we all spoke English, and we could all read English, and we could all read what the road signs were, and we could read what the questions were, and we didn't need an interpreter. Because you know why? The rules were being enforced back then. This is not our problem to accept you. This is your problem to accept us. Here's the thing, if you were driving in Ukraine for 6 years, why aren't you still there? Oh, I know. Russia is invading Ukraine and it's a war torn country, but why come here to the United States? Because you were accepted. That's why. And you were accepted on bent rules. That's why. And if you are an honest, truth telling person, you probably knew it. Why do I say this? Well, because of the example that I've used on this many, many times before. I do not drive a commercial truck in Germany. I do not drive a commercial truck in Russia. And I do not drive a commercial truck in Ukraine. Why? Because I don't speak their language. I don't read their road signs. I don't understand their culture. And to be frank and be honest with you, I don't want to. I don't want to learn it. Does that make sense? I mean, does that truly make sense? I don't want to learn it. If all of a sudden there was a rule here in the United States that I must learn how to speak German, in order to keep my driver's license, my commercial driver's license, I would probably debate it, go home and debate it with my wife and say, a new rule's come up. I'm going to have to learn how to speak German to keep my United States commercial driver's license. And I would probably look at my options of doing something else. Now, I don't see that happening, but if it did, but this is not all of a sudden thing like that. That's like comparing apples to oranges. The way this is written, it's like this just all of a sudden happened in the last 2 months. Bullshit. It didn't just happen in the last 2 months. Ask me. I'm right here. Ask me what happened in the year 2000. All of the driver instructors spoke English. Everyone. All of the road signs were in English. The test was in English. Every person that was in the class with me spoke English. On the very first day of class, before we ever went into a classroom, we took a drug test. Very first thing. And I was in a room with a guy that had just smoked pot the night before. True story. And he was telling me about it, that he had smoked pot the night before. And I just looked at him and I said, "Are you stupid?" That was my response to him. And he said, "What do you mean?" I said, "Probably the first thing they're going to do is drug test us." "Well, it'll take like 30 days to get it back." And I said, "No, it'll come back this week." "You think so?" And I said, "Yeah." "Why would it be the very first thing that they do?" "I think they told us on the phone that you would be drug tested." "Yeah, well, I think it takes like 30 days to get it back." "Well, what if it does take 30 days to get it back?" "Well, I'll already be driving then and they won't be able to fire me." And I said, bullshit. Yeah, they will. Well, anyway, the very first thing he did was we went in and we did a drug test. And about 2 or 3 days later, he was out with about 10 or 15, maybe 20 other guys. They were all out because they all tested hot and they were gone. I mean, this is common sense, folks. Oh, and there was another guy got kicked out. I just reminded myself of that one. There was another guy got kicked out because this was funny. We had to do the eye exam, and they were wanting us to read like line 8 or 9. Like down pretty far on this list. The sign that has A and then DEF and then all this, whatever on the chart. They were wanting us to read, really far down, like 8 or 9, and he was like doing all this stuff and uh B, C, G, D, and she said, "Well, what line are you trying to read?" And he said, "That one." And she said, "You didn't get a single one right. Can you go a line up?" And he just started saying letters, and she said, "Well, where are you at? What letter can you read? Or what line can you read?" And he said, "Oh, I can read the A at the top. I see that one." And she said, "All right, that's it. You're going to get your eyes examined. You need glasses, really, really bad, like extremely bad." And he said, "Okay." And they let him in because he did his eye exam. He got his glasses and he came back and he could read the line and everything was good. Okay? But the thing is, those were English letters. He knew how to read them, he just couldn't see them. And he corrected that. I don't really understand why this is a discussion. Barack Obama was the worst president, the most decisive president that we have ever had in the United States. To me, he was like borderline needing to be tried as a traitor. He undermined almost everything that the United States stood for, and almost sold it out with his soul. And the people that are still here that came in during his administration are just so shocked because someone is following the rules now. Don't get it. I don't get it. Just because you can get in a truck and start it and drive down the road doesn't mean you're qualified. It doesn't mean you're qualified. I'll give you another example. There was a guy, I don't know where this guy was from. He was a really tall guy, had red hair and a red beard. I don't know. He was not from the United States. He was speaking broken English at best. And we were trying to go into this shipper. We were trying to get a load. Well, they were telling him he had to slide his tandems back in order to proceed. Well, I was behind him. He couldn't figure it out. Therefore, he couldn't get in. Therefore, I couldn't get in. We were at the gate. And I walked up to the window and I said, "What's going on?" And she said, "I can't let him in. He won't slide his tandems." And I said, "Does he need some help?" And she said, "Obviously." And I said, "Let me see if I can help him." I went up there. The guy couldn't understand anything that I said. Nothing. Not a word. And I was like, "Pull out your red knob." Huh? Pull it out. Set your trailer brakes. I saw it when I was walking by. I saw he had the pull button on, his trailer to slide it. He had an air slide. I was like, "Pull your red knob. Let's go back there and hit the button so you can slide your tandems." Huh? I had to literally get in this guy's truck. It was a fairly new Volvo. I had to get in the truck and pull it. And I told him, "Get out." And he was just sitting there, huh? He didn't understand anything. I kept motioning. I like, "Get out." I was trying to show him how to do it instead of me doing it for him. And then I walked back there with him. He finally got out and I reached under there and pulled it. And he was just, he couldn't believe that it came out. And I said, "Now go in and pull your truck forward." Well, the first thing he did was he pushed the red knob in. He went to pull forward and it locked it back. It's not the fact that they don't understand English. It's not the fact that they just barely understand basic road signs. They don't even understand how to operate the truck because they have never been trained. That's what's scary about it to me is they come straight in off of the plane or the boat or however they got here. They go straight to the company that you know shipped them in, and they speak in their language, whatever that language may be, and get in a truck and they say, "Go to California, go to Washington, go to Florida." And they're like, huh? Can you imagine how hard it is? Can you imagine? What if I was in Germany and they just threw me in a truck like that, no training whatsoever, and said, get in the truck and go to Stuttgart? And I'm like, what? Huh? You're coming with me, right? Go. Uh, hell no. Hell no, I'm not doing that. But we're supposed to be accepting of it here? For what reason? To drive the rates down, to put people out of business, like they did me. My commercial truck is sitting in the driveway. I was an owner operator. Now I'm not, because all these idiots are on the road running freight for 25 cents a mile, if that. Running 2 or 3 log books, or just turning their log completely off and driving on personal conveyance, or logging into somebody else's name and running the thing 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And California is issuing driver's license without a name or an address on it. It's just a picture to where they can't be traced. It's all a consolidated effort to accommodate these people. And now they want to go on the news and whine about it because they're not being accepted anymore. You shouldn't have been accepted to begin with. Duh. I don't get it, folks. I don't get it. This article makes it feel like that, or makes it sound like that we should feel sorry for these people. And I'm like, why? Why should we feel sorry for them? Because Russia invaded Ukraine and the US was giving money to Ukraine and they still are? Uh, Okay. Okay. So they ship them out of there over to here and give them jobs? How does that fix anything? It just creates a bigger problem, right? It just creates a bigger problem. And no, Spectrum One News, I do not feel sorry for them. You wasted your time on this article interviewing the guy, for me anyway, because I don't feel sorry for them. And I don't feel sorry for the state of New York to allow them to continue on. They don't need President Trump to tell them what's right and what's wrong. The state of New York. They don't need that. What they need is this big dose of medicine called common sense. That's what they're lacking in the state of New York. A big dose of common sense. And it makes me wonder if they have any at all. That's all I've got for tonight. And I will, I'm going to edit this video and I'm going to go to bed. I've got a delivery here in the morning, and it's going to come early. So you guys take care, and we will catch you on the next one. We'll try to put one out again very shortly this week, and hopefully I have a better week than last week. Last week kind of sucked. But anyway, you guys take care. Do your pre-trip, do your post-trip. Don't leave your headlights on in the parking lot and look like a dummy. We'll catch you on the next one. Thanks for watching.